maybe just take us on a little bit of a walking tour through the some of the highlights that we'll see.
Well, one of our earliest superior prioress, as we call them, was Sister Willibalda Scheerbauer, and she truly was a professional musician. In fact, it was recorded in one of the sisters' oral histories that she played for the King of Bavaria before she came here to America. Well, because she was a professional pianist, and we actually have some of her sheet music, and I have had a sister, this is one of the pages from the sheet music, I've had one of the sisters today who is a musician. I don't think we have anyone who could play that music today. It is so difficult and so challenging. But because she was a musician, she was committed to see that sisters were trained in music. It's interesting, they came in July of 1857. By August, within a month, she had arranged to get a piano to Minnesota. And of course, that was not simple. It was ordered from Philadelphia, so it had to come down the river to St. Louis and then up to St. Paul and on the Mississippi here to St. Cloud. But within a month, she had a piano here. And these were not times that money was, that there was a lot of money. But it turned out a very important thing, because the Yankee settlers in St. Cloud were asking for music lessons. And of course, she was able to accommodate that request. And for several years, that was the primary source of income for the sisters, because they weren't always able to get positions as teachers, and there weren't that many other options available. So it was quite providential that she was able to do that.
Tell me about the two, what looked like small pianos right here in the middle of the floor. What are these?
Actually they're little organs. The one on the left was one that was used by Sister Leoba Brown. You can see her picture down beside it. She had this organ in White Earth, Minnesota, working with the Native Americans, the Ojibwe there. And she was in that location for 50 years working with this, and the little organ on the right is one that was used by the Gertkin sisters, which is a very familiar name in this area, and Sister Urban Gertkin and Sister Cecile Gertkin, who really were primary movers. We'll probably say a little bit more about them later. But this was where they did a lot of their preparation and planning and working with specifically the Gregorian chant type of music.
Okay.
They're wonderful little instruments.
They're very...
Still, just notice the pedals on the one. You can tell they've been very used.
Very well used, yes.
We had 76 sisters out teaching music, specifically music, in 66 locations, many of them in Minnesota. We do have a map here that attempts to show the many locations where we were heavily in central Minnesota, as you can see. But we were also North Dakota, Wisconsin, even out in Washington State. But this was where there was just tremendous outreach. And these sisters, when they were out there teaching, they would have a parish choir, they would have a boys' choir, they would be teaching in the schools, in the classrooms, and there could be an adult choir. And then in addition to that, they'd be teaching private piano lessons, and to the tune of maybe 50 students that they would have for private lessons. Those sisters worked really very hard, and it really meant, because they were working in the parish setting and in the school setting, it was often 7 days a week, and from 7 in the morning till 8 at night. They really did have a reputation for being totally involved in both the parishes and the schoolwork.
What else do you think would maybe be a highlight that we should see?
Well, another very important person in our community, and she's a contemporary, is Sister Dolores Duffner. And she is still very active, but she is extremely gifted and skilled in writing hymn texts that are inclusive and scriptural. But what she has done, she fits them to melodies that are familiar for people. And we use her work very frequently in our monastery liturgies, and she too has published very widely, and her works are distributed throughout many parishes and dioceses.
Well, Sister Moira, thank you for giving me a little tour. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and I invite, anyone is invited to come during our open hours, or if you want to come as a group and want to make special arrangements, we're willing to do that too.